My dear one, pause everything immediately. I declare it by the testimony of the essence. Those phrases just caused your pulse to quicken. Excellent. It shows you're still responsive enough to sense the gravity of forever bearing down on this instant. In precisely 7 seconds, you'll grasp why your protective messenger violated rules to guarantee you encountered this communication today. They activated their sole eternal crisis intervention. Since what unfolds in the following 17 minutes decides if the divine responds to you come morning. Cease all other activities. Truly, that alert that just sounded can hold. That notion suggesting this is merely another communication is a deception sown by powers. Aware your fate depends on these upcoming instants. 3 individuals were picked to absorb this vibration today. 2 have already swiped by. You're the final one. You're the ultimate opportunity. And if you depart now, this chance relocates to another in precisely 90 seconds. And you won't receive another sacred disruption like this for 7 years. You detected that alteration just then, right? That odd pressure in your torso, that inexplicable certainty that something enormous is occurring in dimensions beyond sight. Your inner being acknowledges what your intellect is yet digesting. This isn't happenstance. This isn't programming. This is sacred interference, piercing through 7 tiers of ethereal obstruction, to connect with you at the precise juncture when all can yet transform. Allow me to reveal what you remain unaware of. 12 hours prior in the celestial tribunal, your identity was proclaimed, not murmured, proclaimed loudly. The prosecutor had assembled an indictment against you, 7 years of records. Each instance you selected ease over summons. Each occasion you uttered later rather than immediately. Each devotion you halted halfway because streaming appeared more appealing. Each dawn you seized your device before embracing my essence. Tio, the proof was condemning. The verdict was on the verge of being locked. Yet your protective messenger performed something extraordinary. Cited the compassion provision, the one usable only once per mortal span. They offered opposing testimony. They displayed the divine, the conflicts you waged that none observed, the sorrows you shed at 3 in the morning when you believed I wasn't attentive, the occasions you nearly surrendered but somehow persisted in existing, the supplications you offered for others while your own existence unraveled. And at that point, the divine was prepared to act, but solely if you cease undervaluing me. Permit me to disclose something about your nature you've never comprehended. You exist in a society that has conditioned you to regard me as a contingency, like crisis coverage, like a heavenly dispenser you approach only in necessity. You've been conditioned to think I'm remote, residing in paradise, sporadically concerned with mortal matters. But that's the most profound falsehood the abyss ever peddled to humankind. I'm not remote. I'm so near that every inhale you draw is loaned from my breath. Every pulse is upheld by my cadence. Every ideal you conceive traverses my awareness initially. You undervalue me because you've overlooked my true identity. You've diminished me to faith, to weekend gatherings, to emergency handling. But I'm the divine who commanded star systems into being with a murmur. I'm the divine who maintains particles united by my volition's strength. I'm the divine who counts the strands on your scalp. And that count shifted this morning when you combed your locks. 3 dropped. I tallied them. That's how intimately I'm engaged in your being. Yet you behave as if I'm elective. You rise and inspect your device before connecting with me. You organize your day without consulting the one who commands the future. You decide based on reason, apprehension, or craving, but seldom on my guidance. You've grown so accustomed to my tolerance that you've confused it for endorsement. You've mistaken my quiet for non-existence. You've viewed my compassion as frailty. But I'm set to demonstrate my true nature. Recall King Saul. I selected him, consecrated him. I granted him triumph upon triumph. But achievement caused him to overlook the origin. Authority led him to rely on his own discernment over my declaration. K began altering my directives to suit his ease. He provided incomplete compliance and labeled it adoration. And when challenged, he rationalized himself. He dreaded human views more than my essence, so I withdrew my support. High essence left. His tale concluded in insanity and demise. Not because I ceased cherishing him, but because he ceased acknowledging me. That might become your tale. It's already evolving into your tale. Each day you prioritize all else over me. You're composing another section of ethereal decay. Each instant you mute my guidance to heed society's clamor. You're erecting barriers between us. Barriers I won't compel my way across. I granted you autonomy not so you could ruin yourself with it, but so you could willingly opt to adore me. But you've been opting for all except me. You supplicate when desperate, study my declaration when idle. You adore when inclined, you assist when suitable. Okay, but I'm not a partial divine, and I won't accept partial dedication. I'm not concerned with your remnants. Okay, I desire your initial offerings. I desire your prime moments, not your fatigued instants. I desire your core sovereignty, not a peripheral seat. I desire all of you, or none of you. Society has instructed you to approach me informally, to near me without veneration, to utter my title without gravity. But I'm sacred, okay? I'm the divine before whom messengers veil their visages and proclaim, sacred, sacred, secret, ceaselessly. I'm the divine whose essence causes peaks to dissolve and oceans to divide. I'm the divine whose splendor is so fierce that no mortal can behold my visage and survive. Yet you near me as if I'm your companion, your wish grantor, your reserve scheme. You've misplaced the awe of the Lord, and in misplacing that, you've misplaced wisdom's origin. But even now, even after all your informal rejection, even after years of treating my guidance as secondary, my affection for you burns with a fierceness that would consume you if you experienced its complete might. That's why I moderate it. That's why I dispense it in measures your mortality can endure. But don't confuse that moderated grace for absence of fervor. I'm possessive of you with a possessiveness that renders mortal feelings seem like echoes. I desire you with a desire that predated your being. I selected you before establishing Earth spaces. Your title was on my lips before your guardians conceived it. Heed closely to what I'm about to disclose, because this is the turning point. This is where all alters or nothing does. In the forthcoming 72 hours, I'm going to dispatch 3 indisputable indicators. Not vague suggestions, not perhaps that was divine instance. 3 unquestionable affirmations that I'm communicating to you immediately. The initial will arrive within 6 hours. An individual you haven't communicated with in years will reach out with phrases directly linked to what you've been privately supplicating about. The second will arrive tomorrow. An entrance you believed eternally sealed will slightly ajar sufficiently for you to glimpse potential. The third will arrive on the 3rd day. A bodily feeling in your form. Restoration, alleviation, or abrupt vitality will affirm that the divine has heeded and reacted. But these indicators come with stipulations. Commencing immediately for the next 72 hours, I require you to pursue me as if your existence relies on it, because it does. Waken tomorrow at 5:55 a.m., not 6, not 5:45, precisely 5:55. That particular time holds meaning in the ethereal domain for you. When you awaken, before your soles touch the ground, before you grasp your device, utter these precise phrases. I select you today above all else. I yield my schemes to your objective. I'm attentive. Then remain silent for 7 minutes. Don't supplicate. Don't study. Just heed. I will communicate. It might be an idea that appears from nowhere. It might be a warmth in your torso. It might be an abrupt certainty about something you must do. But I will communicate, and you'll recognize it's me, because it will address the precise matter you've been reluctant to present to me. Remove 3 applications from your device immediately. You know which? It's the ones that rob your time, nourish your comparisons, or stoke your diversions. Okay? The divine can't install fresh programs while your capacity is filled with the abyss's software. This isn't rigidity. This is ethereal cleanliness you wouldn't consume from a soiled dish. Cease nourishing your essence from polluted origins. Message someone immediately with these phrases. I've been supplicating for you. You don't need to comprehend why. You don't need to clarify. It's dispatch it to the initial individual who emerges in your thoughts after reading this line. That individual needs to recognize the divine hasn't overlooked them, and you're set to be the courier that preserves their belief. Here's what you remain unaware of regarding the ethereal domain. Every deed in the physical has magnified effect in the metaphysical. When you select me over ease, legions mobilize. When you prioritize my essence over your schemes, messengers are sent. When you comply, even when you don't comprehend, bonds shatter in dimensions beyond sight. But when you disregard me, when you postpone compliance, when you treat my guidance as one choice among several, you grant the adversary permission to function in your existence. That's why your wealth has been assaulted. That's why bonds keep collapsing. That's why wellness problems keep emerging. That's why tranquility evades you. That's why delight seems like a remote recollection. You've granted the adversary authorization via your ethereal neglect. Each day you undervalue me is another day you surrendered to shadows. And shadows have been accumulating with the cruel. But tonight, immediately, this instant, the divine is prepared for a restart. Not because you merit it. You don't. Not because you've gained it. You haven't. But because I cherish you with an affection that defies mortal reason. I cherish you aware of all you've committed. I cherish you aware of every future failure. I cherish you aware of how frequently you'll overlook this instant and revert to former habits. I cherish you regardless, but affection demands reply, and your reply has been missing. Allow me to recount about James from Detroit. 3 weeks prior, he encountered this communication. He nearly swiped by. Something halted him. He complied with the directives, though his rational mind deemed it absurd. Within 72 hours, the position he'd been denied contacted again. They'd aired. He commenced last Monday at twice the compensation he'd sought. But that wasn't the genuine wonder. The genuine wonder was that he began rising at 5:55 a.m. to connect with me. And for the initial time in his 43 years, he perceived my guidance distinctly, not audibly, but indisputably. And all transformed. Maria from Brazil disregarded this communication 6 months prior. She believed she had time. She believed tomorrow would improve. She believed she could manage existence on her terms a bit longer. Last month, all she'd constructed crumbled. The enterprise, the bond, the wellness, all disintegrated within 3 weeks. She said dispatched a note yesterday stating she regretted not heeding. She's recommencing now, but she forfeited 6 months of fate. She can't retrieve. Time isn't replenishable. Chances aren't boundless. Compassion has phases. David from London inputted 777 in the responses with sorrow flowing down his cheeks. He had intended to terminate his existence that evening. The tablets were prepared. The message was composed, but something prompted him to view this first. When he inputted those digits, warmth surged his torso. Not figurative warmth, genuine bodily heat that felt like being embraced. He dialed the crisis line instead of ingesting the tablets. Today, 3 months later, he's advising others who position where he positioned. He states, inputting 777 preserved his existence, but it wasn't the digits. It was the compliance. It was the yielding. It was finally affirming yes to me instead of yes to despair. Immediately, the divine is observing. Not casually viewing, intently observing. The messengers designated to you are holding their inhale. The assembly of testifiers is inclining ahead. All of the divine is awaiting to witness what you'll do with this instant. Will you regard it like every other communication you've encountered? Will you sense something briefly, then revert to routine? Will you vow alteration tomorrow? Or will you acknowledge that this is the instant the divine has been readying for years? Your parent has been supplicating for you. Even if she's transitioned, her supplications remain active in the divine's tribunals. Those supplications have been accumulating pressure in the ethereal domain, awaiting you to harmonize with them via compliance. Your progress isn't solely about you. Okay. It is about every supplication fighter who has interceded for you. Okay. It is about the lineage favor awaiting to stream through you to offspring, yet unborn. Okay. It is about the existences you're meant to affect once you're advancing in your objective instead of your agony. Okay. But none of it occurs if you persist undervaluing me. None of it appears if you regard this as another inspirational instant instead of a sacred call. The divine has done all except override your autonomy. The arena is prepared. The assets are liberated. The messengers are situated. The progress is lingering, but you must grasp it. You must select it. You must act upon it. Input 777 in the responses immediately, not subsequently, not after contemplation. Immediately, those 3 digits are your accord with the divine. They are your affirmation that you're finished undervaluing me. They are your endorsement on an ethereal pact that states, from this instant onward, I select divine first. Not ultimately, not when suitable, but first. When you input those digits, records in the divine get endorsed. Assets held in trust get liberated. Messengers on alert get mobilized. Wonders planned for some time get shifted to now. Then forward this communication to precisely 3 individuals, not your whole directory. It's 3 particular individuals. You already recognize who they are. Their visages just appeared in your thoughts. One of them has been sobbing to slumber. One of them is on the verge of a choice that will ruin their fate. One of them has been pondering if I have overlooked them. You are set to be the response to their confidential supplication. You are set to be the proof that I haven't overlooked them, but only if you comply, only if you act, only if you cease undervaluing me. The gateway that unlocked when you began reading the seals in 60 seconds, not figuratively, literally. The ethereal vibration that permitted this communication to penetrate the obstruction around your existence is about to alter. Once it seals, it won't unlock again for 7 years. 7 years of pondering what might have been. 7 years of knowing you possessed an instant and forfeited it. 7 years of observing others advance in the favor that could have been yours. Or, immediately in this second, you can alter all. You can halt the cycle of ethereal delay. You can terminate the pattern of regarding my guidance as elective. You can commence the voyage I've been summoning you to since before your birth. You can advance into the rendition of yourself that the divine perceives when it gazes at you. You can become threading to shadows and emanating with illumination. You can transition from survivor to prosperer, from overlooked to favored, from shattered to progress. But you must select now, not tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't assured to you, not subsequently. Subsequently is a deception, okay? This instant, this inhale, this pulse, select me now. And I will disclose myself to you in manners that will render your past connection with me seem like echoes compared to radiance. Select me now and observe the divine invade your conditions with might that compels impossibility to yield. Select me now and undergo what it feels like to be completely vital, completely cherished, completely recognized, and completely empowered. The timer has commenced. 30 seconds. Your fate is awaiting. Your progress is lingering. Your wonder is prepared. The divine is observing. The abyss is quaking. Messengers are ready. 20 seconds. This is your instant. This is your sacred disruption. This is your flaming shrub. This is your path to enlightenment. This is your elevated chamber. 10 seconds. Input 777. Forward to 3. Select me. 5 seconds. All altars. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the commencement of all you've been awaiting. The gateway is sealed. The pact is endorsed. The messengers are advancing. Observe what transpires next. It has already initiated.